Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode with Track. We are back in the building, man. I appreciate each and every one of you for tapping in like you always do. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button and go ahead and join the iTrack fam. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Oh, you better take a video of this one. It's moving. Can you see how it's like it's spinning?
Yeah.
So I'm not tripping, right?
No, you're not tripping. You're not alone.
And it is actually moving. It's not in the same space, in the spot.
That is crazy. And is it getting bigger?
Mm-hmm. The shape is changing.
Brown has allegedly bought up countless Quavo concert tickets so that the venue is empty. This happened on April 28th when footage circulated of Quavo's concert where we can see it's almost empty and only a handful of fans were in attendance. After this happened, a source spoke up and said that it was Chris Brown who was behind this and said that Chris bought up most concert tickets so that the concert would be a failure. In their statement, the source said, "Chris Brown is behind the failure of Quavo's concert. He bought up all the tickets to embarrass and humiliate him and ruin the whole concert. He wanted a big, grand way to get back at him and really push his buttons. This is also a huge way for Chris to flex how much richer he is that he's able to pull a giant stunt like this and completely overshadow the concert." Fans online are shocked by all of this, with some fans saying what Chris did was great, and others saying it's completely uncalled for and have labeled it as bullying. The majority opinion of most fans is that what Chris did is iconic, and people are saying he's truly a legend for getting revenue on Quavo like this. One fan said, "This whole beef is wild, but buying up tickets to tank the show, that's borderline sociopathic. I'm kind of scared at how far Chris Brown is willing to go. Where do we draw the line between entertainment and just plain cruelty? Feuds and drama are part of hip-hop, but this feels unnecessarily vicious." Another fan said, "I wonder if Quavo will even address this publicly. Ignoring it might backfire, makes him look weak, but clapping back could escalate this even further. There's no good option for him here. To be fair, the only person winning here is Ticketmaster. Concert was sold out, they don't care who's in the seats or not, they got their money." And finally, one more fan said, "Remember when 50 Cent did something similar, buying up Ja Rule's concert tickets? This feels like that, but on steroids. Other rappers should be taking notes. Imagine if Drake starts buying up Kanye's concerts. This could start a whole wave of petty sabotage." The music industry just got a lot messier. For this video's comment question, is Chris a legend for this?
This is definitely a prime example of, if you're rich, it doesn't change you, it just amplifies who you are. So if you're petty before you get rich, you're just going to be a rich, petty person. That's it.
One of the ways that we actually know that demons are becoming more powerful is we actually keep statistics in our community. Because I've been doing solemn exorcisms for 15 years, and I've been doing regular other exorcisms, minor exorcisms, for about 17 years. And so we started keeping statistics, and what we started to notice is that in relationship to possession, where demons actually possess people, the number of possessions is statistically remaining the same. It's 0.5% of the general population, 0.5%. So 1 out of every 200 people is likely possessed. And of those people that come to us, it's about that same statistic. But statistically, when you're talking about diabolic obsession, that the amount of rates of diabolic obsession are drastically on the rise. When you talk to exorcists, what they're finding out is that the statistical number, the average, I polled several of the top exorcists in this country, and I asked them, what percentage of you do you think of the adult population in this country is diabolically obsessed, which I'll talk about in a minute. Every single one of us came up with the same statistic, 25%. Diabolic oppression is also on the rise, but for different causes. Diabolic oppression is also on the rise. We figure that the average number of people that are being diabolically oppressed is somewhere between 10 and 15% of the population is diabolically oppressed. It's an indicator that the diabolic influence is drastically increasing, and it's increasing for a variety of different reasons. It's increasing because people are doing a lot of evil things. Every mortal sin, this is something I tell people, every mortal sin is an open door to possession. In fact, mortal sin by its nature takes the person out from underneath the authority structure of God and places the person underneath the authority structure of Satan. The proper effect of mortal sin is possession. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who commits a mortal sin becomes possessed, because even though the person opens the door, God is the one who determines whether the demon gets to step across the threshold. And so that means that by the mercy of God, most people who commit mortal sin do not become possessed. But the number of evil things that people are doing is opening up the door to demons getting more influence in this life. Then, of course, there's the increase in the occult. We're seeing this all over the place. The amount of occult material, the occult activity that's going is drastically on the increase. And as exorcists, we're seeing it across the board. The other thing that we're seeing is, when I first started doing exorcism, well, let's just back up. Before 1963, the average time to liberate someone from full possession was 1 to 2 days. Average time. After 1963, what used to take 1 to 2 days went to 8 months to 2 years to liberate the average person. Then it's now, on average, 4 years to liberate somebody. There's two reasons for that. One is because the world is much more evil and the demons are a lot more powerful. The second component is that exorcisms work what they call ex opere operantis ecclesiae. What does that mean? It means how holy the people are in the Catholic Church determines how effective my prayers are when I walk into session. That tells us that there's a fundamental problem with the members of the church. They're not as holy as their counterparts were in the past.
He definitely touched on the occult pushing their agenda a lot stronger, and that makes a whole lot more sense. That's why you see all this the symbolism in these concerts, and we're noticing it more in our television and our movies. And so if you really listen to what he said, maybe you need to rewind that. Man, there's a lot of gems in there that you can pick up.
Who's going to win the White House in 2024?
Who do you think will win the White House in 2032? Which type of AI? Transformers or the future?
He came right back with the knowledge, because our government will definitely be run by AI at some point in the future.
Go for it.
Okay, that device you see plugged into the iPhone, that's my video transmitter. Now this is my video repeater. Basically it takes any video signal coming out of the iPhone and it boosts it, enhances it. And I can take over any other video signal that I want that I put this close to. So what we're filming on the iPhone right now, I'm going to put on one of these screens. I'm going to give you a demonstration how this works. Good? Yeah?
Yeah, got it.
All right.
That definitely was just a quick example of how easily technology can be manipulated.
I went to Angkor Wat, the largest temple complex in the world, located in Cambodia. Now look at that moat. This moat, which goes around Angkor Wat, more mass of mud removed to create that moat around Angkor Wat than the Great Pyramid by multitudes.
The moat isn't natural?
No, it's man-made.
With what? Shovels? It would just be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. So you don't start a project like this until you already know it's going to work. You're talking about calculus, geology, excavation techniques.
This is how many years ago?
We're talking about something, in my opinion, super ancient. This thing could be 20, 30,000 years old. The thing is littered with hieroglyphs.
Is there any cool stuff in the hieroglyphs?
Well, there you go right there, the dinosaur.
The what?
See that?
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
This was 2019. We need to ask ourselves, why is this being released in 2024? They on.
Come to find out, Terrence Howard is really smart. So I'm definitely tuned in.
If I had went there with a funky ass attitude, yeah, I would have been done. I mean, because there's plenty of guys. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not Bruce Lee, and I'm not just super Mike Tyson. But I mean, I'll fight and I'll defend myself, you know, and that's the bottom line. Ain't nobody taking no butt from me. I mean, Bubba didn't walk in my cell and say, "It's about time, Rick. Super freak this."
What this actor and comedian just leaked to Dr. Phil on his own show was so horrifying that even Dr. Phil was shocked by it. So we're going to be checking out this video here that this actor brought to the table, which shows just how absolutely corrupt and insane Hollywood is and the direction that they are continuing to go in, which is not a healthy direction for our culture. In fact, it is extremely devastating, but this shows you their secret agenda. They did not want this to get out, but it is indeed out, and I can only imagine there's probably a lot of people that are not happy about that. So we're going to be jumping into this whole thing. Some of you have probably heard of Tyler Fisher. Absolutely hilarious, some of the stuff that he has done. This 100% happens in Hollywood. I had my animated show canceled because we were white, straight Christian males, which isn't a shock to me whatsoever. We know that this is what Hollywood is like. I never got paid as much as others for doing the same job at the same position, but I had to work longer hours and allow people to take credit for my work. It's a racist DEI crap show in entertainment, which is indeed the case. A few years ago, I was told explicitly by comedy manager AGI Entertainment that they would not represent me just because of my skin color. I recorded the convo so people can see how far this justified discrimination has gone.
Comedian Tyler Fisher claims he has been turned down by 3 agencies because they said they just weren't looking for white men.
Do you think it was justified for me to be told, we can't represent you, you don't have the chance to now compete for jobs because you're white? Yes or no? Was that okay or was that not okay?
I think that what is described by you...
Don't give me your little
let me finish.
Wrap.
What is described by you, someone telling you that you can't get that.
Oh, and this guy has no idea that they got the dirt. They got the dirt on video, guys. On video. It would be one thing if these talent agencies were telling him that he wasn't going to be hired because he didn't have the talent, he didn't have what they were looking for as far as the content goes. That would be one thing, but
we're in a day and age where you can't throw rocks and hide your hand, so make sure every move you make is a move you can stand behind.
Friend who has spent a lot of time with super powerful people, and he told me about a meeting that he had with one individual in particular who spoke about being an apex predator. He said that apex predators don't care about prey, and even though the prey that he was referring to was still his own species, it was really haunting, the story, the way that that was told to me, because you had someone who not only had the motivation to be able to go and enact whatever nefarious, malicious plan, but also had the actual resources to be able to go and do it, right? Those two things together they're scary, and that was something that really opened my eyes. I'm very non-conspiratorial in the way that I think. I always lean toward, do not attribute to malice that which can be explained by stupidity. Do not attribute to coordination that which can be explained by coincidence. And yet, the more that I read and the more that I learn about things, the more there seems to be there, right?
Something or someone had him spooked.
Think this is going to be sold here in the U.S. or no?
Well, let me make it clear. It's not that I want to buy TikTok. I am going to buy TikTok. The only person that matters in this equation, it's the supreme leader. It's his decision. Now, if he decides to close it down, many of the investors in ByteDance are international investors, including U.S. domestic. So you just wipe them out. The whole value of something that was once worth over $200 billion is now zero. And he will come to his senses, I guarantee you, and say, okay, I'll sell it. Now, what will the terms be? What data? What preferences? Do I get the videos from the past? That's all the negotiation I'm going to have. Secondly, we got 7 million companies. They've been watching Shark Tank for 2 generations. They're all entrepreneurs. They know me. Here's my deal to them. I'm going to do equity crowdfunding to all 7 million of them. Join me in the deal under the same terms I'm getting. Who's going to rewrite the algorithm? That's the third risk. So I've got a plan for that too.
Oh my God, the phone. Yo, are you seeing this? Yo, holy shit. Yo. Where the fuck you go? Dude.
Now, if I'm being honest, that looked like that might have been some of that AI cap. But if you know something I don't, you know what to do.
So give me an example so people know I'm not just making this crap up.
Well, I mean, just like when I had nothing, I already knew I was driving like Ferraris and Porsches and stuff because I always wanted those cars. I already knew I was going to have them It was inevitable.
Right.
I inevitably, that was just my inevitable outcome.
But how did you do that? Did you have a ritual? Did you think about it regularly? Was it one time you thought about it, or was it something you had an obsession towards?
I had an obsession towards it. I mean, I used to work at a video store, which was the last job I ever had in my life.
Thank God.
And I used to go to work almost every day, and I used to bring 2 magazines with me to read on my breaks. Entrepreneur magazine, just to read about business and everything else, to read about what other people are doing, look for role models. And I used to carry an Auto Trader with me. And I used to look at Porsches that were for sale.
Yeah.
And people always used to ask me, what are you doing with that Auto Trader magazine? I'm like, well, I'm just picking out the Porsche that I'm going to buy.
Right.
Which
probably got you a lot of crap.
I did. People made fun of me.
Sure.
I actually had a boss at that job tell me, you really shouldn't do that to yourself, John, because it's very, very likely that is never going to happen. That it's very likely that you're never going to have that car.
Yeah.
That's the kind of belief he was trying to put in my head. And I was like, no, you don't realize that it's inevitable that I will drive here sometime in the near future with that car when I'm not working for you and drop movies off for you to put back on the shelf. And that actually happened. And it was one of the most fulfilling days of my entire life. And the great thing was when I pulled up in this car, I was in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
A car that most mid-20s.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Porsche 911 Turbo. It was a convertible and everything. Just a beautiful car. It was one I always dreamed of having. But for a few years, I always circled the ads of which ones I was going to buy. Well, when I finally got it and I pulled up at the store, I had all these people. Some people that were still working at this $7 an hour job were there years after I left. And I'll never forget this, even the boss and stuff, and the reaction of the people was like, wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Is that your dad's car? And all I said to them was,
I love that clip because it's exactly how life is. You're going to have haters, but you got to put the blinders on and get to work.
Paul takes a Mercedes with a bunch of guys and $100,000 in cash, a big brick, and he goes out to this guy's house in the middle of the desert. And Logan calls me in the middle of nowhere. He's like, "Are you sure your contact's legit, dude? My phone doesn't work. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I got $100K cash in my pocket." I said, "No, I'm sure he's good, So Logan goes in there and meets Chuck Clark. And Chuck Clark's like, "Yeah, I got the tape right here." And so he says, "I'll give you $100,000 for it." And the guy says, "No way." And so Logan Paul revealed this for the first time. Logan Paul has got a button camera on his clothes. So Logan Paul's like, all right, well, this guy doesn't want to, he's going to die with it. Let's get this thing on camera. So Logan's like, well, let me see it at least. So Logan looks at it with his thing and, oh, could you show it to me again? Gets another angle. And then he leaves. It was very impressive what I saw. Very impressive. If it was a fake, my God, that was well done. He should be making movies with Spielberg. So anyway,
UFOs are real and aliens are real, but they're not from outer space. And that's according to the top 2 UFO researchers after decades-long research. So go to Sabrel.com and
so where do they think they're from
if
they're not from outer space?
They're interdimensional and potentially fallen angels, disguising themselves because they're liars. Of something, like you said, can't be proven or disproven. I'm from this galaxy 300 light years away.
This is kind of what Tucker Carlson thinks. He thinks there's a spiritual element to it, and he thinks they've always been here, and he thinks that this is what's kind of documented in the Bible as like good and evil. And
that's it, exactly. I mean, that's what's going on. I mean, the top 2 UFO researchers said UFOs are real, number 1. Number 2, they're not from outer space. And number 3, they're demonic. And that's what I talk about. Where it talks about fallen angels interbreeding with humans, it's talked about in Genesis 6, and creating a race called Nephilim, who were men of renown, world leaders.
I can only imagine where Joe Rogan's mind is at this point. I mean, he's interviewed almost everybody that has something to say or some kind of research that has to do with extraterrestrials. So that's pretty interesting.
Beginning when it was literally Sin City, 2 Jews hired by the Italian mob to find a place that could be a lawless land controlled by them with no regulation, and they drove out from LA and they said this is close enough to any metropolitan where we'll get people here, but it's far enough away where there's no conflict of other laws and regulations, and they picked what is now known as Las Vegas. They started building it and it was controlled by the mob. The mob, who are professional criminals, said in the streets we take advantage of people by using these tactics, let's put it in this building. And then over time, real smart minds, business minds, MIT guys, software developers, all these people came in and said, what you're on is fire. Let me build on that.
So the mob was...
And then these high intelligence people came in, not that the people in the mob weren't, but you know what I'm saying? More like nerd, like book smart people came in and said, I see what you did with your street smarts. Let me now turn it into book smarts. Let me put technology behind it. Let me put this behind it. Let me take it a step further. And they built the path for the technology used now to help control our consciousness, our vibes.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Yeah. It's crazy though how because people get so lost in the whole Vegas thing.
Yeah.
So if you're a gambler and you're having how do you?
That's pretty close to exactly how the inception of Vegas started.
You said there's mold in coffee? It's a big deal. China, all of Europe, and most of South America have government laws protecting their populations from mold in coffee. So I'm not making this up. This is a globally known issue. In the US, there's no law. And I've got on video somewhere the former president of the Specialty Coffee Association, the biggest coffee guys. He's saying, oh yeah, I was in Japan when they rejected 1,000 shipping containers of moldy coffee. I'm like, oh, what did they do with it? He goes, we send it to the US where there's no standards. I'm like, I don't make this stuff up. I was on Rogan a while ago. He had a competing company that was trying to move into the space of bulletproof. He said, oh, Dave lied about mold. No, man, I got 36 studies that I didn't pay for backing up what I say. And hundreds of governments believe what I'm saying, just not the US.
Well, it turns out that the rumors were true, and Floyd Mayweather has been trapped in Dubai for the last 50 days. Gervonta Davis was the first to claim it. Now multiple insider sources have confirmed that he is in fact trapped in Dubai for a debt that has nothing to do with boxing. After doing a little digging, it seems that someone in his camp while he was shopping for jewelry in Dubai stole one of the pieces, got away with it, and then blocked all communication with Mayweather. Since then, Floyd has already paid for the jewelry, but they refuse to let him go until they get their piece back. And allegedly, this guy right here is the thief that started this whole mess.
I mean, if there's any place in the world that Floyd would want to be trapped in, it might just be Dubai.
Like the person you want to become. That's not fake it till you make it, by the way. This is intentional. When you intentionally act like the person you want to become, your brain sees you taking those actions, so your brain starts to change the way it relates to you. But when it comes to manifesting based on science, I want you to think as manifesting as a bridge. Manifesting is a bridge that's made of bricks between you and the thing that you dream about. And what you do when you manifest is you don't manifest where the bridge is going. You manifest the bricks. Visualization is the bricks. And so what I want you to do when you visualize is you're capable of breaking any pattern. You're capable of getting control of your health. You're capable of launching a business. You're capable of making millions of dollars. You're capable of absolutely anything that you put your mind to. Because I do believe that people who put in the work get rewarded.
And you know, that's my main message. Hey, go put the work in.
Of 3rd Street in East Charleston. 8 News Now investigator Kyle Payne was there first with news of this murder yesterday, and he joins us live. Kyle, with the latest.
Denise Bryan, consider yourself warned. The details of this murder here in downtown Las Vegas are disturbing, but this is the block where police say they arrested a man named Colin Check, age 31. He was arrested yesterday on open murder charges. Not in court today, Judge Rebecca Sachs said Check was in the hospital. A police report identified the victim as Kenneth Brown. And a document obtained by the 8 News Now investigator says Brown had a large cut to part of his head and that he was missing an eye and an ear when police found him. And neighbors yesterday were amazed with what they heard.
Pretty bizarre, man. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that goes on out here, as you said, but this takes the cake as far as just all out outness. You know what I mean?
It's pretty disgusting.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So, I'm not sure what this person may have been going through, but yeah, it's something else. I would say entirely.
Police say Check was going in and out of consciousness while he was in police custody and told cops that something was, quote, possessing him. Here at the bus stop where police arrested Check, the scene is too bloody and gory to show you on television. Just about as bad as those gory details in the police report, which you can read more about on our website.
It's funny how all these clips tie in together, because we just saw the clip about the guy speaking on how demons are getting stronger and people are becoming possessed, and it's taking longer for them to be depossessed. So it's wild. It's wild.
Y'all remember this line right here when Kendrick said, tell your core audience where you get your abs from? Vroom vroom V12, that's a fast one. Remember when he said that? Y'all, watch this. Oh my gosh. Yo. The whole time I'm thinking V12, he talking about a whip, like, okay, fast car. Nah. This man talking about a V12 slimming machine. Kendrick the GOAT. Kendrick the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He did not waste one bar. Not one line did he waste.
I mean, the wild part to me is that there's a World War III going on in hip hop, and there's a World War III going on in real life.
There's a man who had recreated this water fuel cell where your car could run off water. Bizarre stuff.
It's not a coincidence.
No, these are hits. If you're a brilliant electromagnetic engineer, but you don't know the bear you're about to poke with that technology and what they'll do to keep it suppressed, you're destined to fail. People who do have these devices come to us and we have a strategy of how to fix this problem. Well, how do you fix it? The big mistake people make, they try to patent it. We have a patent examiner who's a PhD physicist testifying that they confiscate these things. If you try to keep how it operates secret, then you're very vulnerable. So one of the things I did for the Disclosure Project for my own security is to decentralize everything I have. It's called detargeting. So why have a big bullseye on your ass?
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Even if they do try to suppress it, it's already been out there.
Out.
So many people have already seen it.
Agriculture. We stand with the cattle ranchers. We stand with our farmers because we understand it's important for the backbone of the state. It's important for our culture. It's important for our heritage. So the bill that I'm going to sign today is going to say, basically, take your fake lab-grown meat elsewhere. We're not doing that in the state of Florida.
I'm really wishing that all 50 states took that stand about lab-grown meat. I mean, that would be awesome. Let's bring back the farms, all the natural agriculture that we have in America. I mean, we can do without the lab-grown meat, I'm just saying.
Which you said, those who want to lead the orchestra must be willing to turn their back on the crowd. What do you mean by that?
You have to be okay with being misunderstood, with being rejected. And the worst thing you want to is be a follower that follows followers. A sheep that follows sheep. You have to be able to think out of a place of autonomy. And if you want to be a leader, you have to lead yourself first. And you have to lead yourself through free thought and through critical thinking. And unless you develop those things, then you're going to just be a follower of followers.
Orlando Brown done did it again, y'all. I mean, every interview this dude can't lose. If you think about it, it makes sense. My man was on set at a young age, like Nick Cannon and Drake, Ray J, Brandy, and countless others. But this interview, though, is on 10. Run that video, comment below, and this is for educational purposes only. Share this with somebody you love, care, and respect. Run it.
A documentary comes out called Quiet on Set. And it speaks on the Nickelodeon All That cast. Oh man, not the exhale.
Well, shout out to Nick Cannon. I won't do his money like that. What I will do is I'll say that the owner of Nickelodeon is Jeffrey Epstein. Look at the characteristics of everything they said and then look at everything that he did.
I see your head honcho. A lot of black people came out and said we didn't see that stuff, but when you hear the Amanda Bynes story, Drake and Josh, for these young white kids, it sounds like they got put through the ringer.
I won't do that. Okay. I feel like it was wrong what happened over at Nickelodeon, but it's like more good weighs out the bad. I never had to work for Nickelodeon. I work for Disney. We don't do those things. It's been a very big conspiracy, right? So Walt Disney tried to kill his son. You know, Joseph, Saint Joseph, tried to kill me.
Raven was involved. Everybody was involved. The entire industry.
If someone was a young child, 8 years old now, trying to go work for Walt Disney right now, like literally,
I would literally be like, get your bag. You know what I'm saying? Because it comes to the parent. The parent is the person that has to say, he can go in that quiet room. It has nothing to do. It's these parents, these pageant parents. You know, my daughter's better than you. If you honestly, everyone, if you just look at a dream is a wish, dream is a wish, and you can't stop. Dream is a wish, you make with your heart. You look at that shit and you see Hillary Duff and Raven Simone like this. I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. If you actually watch a Dream is a Wish video and you see Hillary Duff that wanted her own show, and we already had a show, and Raven's like, bitch, and Hillary's like, and I'm on the downside like, dude, I have like stage moms. It's all the moms. My daughter's gonna stand in front of her. My daughter, I'm listening to this shit, you know? And it's like, you know? So now you gotta look at the pageant mom. The pageant mom has nothing to do but make sure that they make money from nothing.
Orlando is forever entertaining, I swear. Like, you'll never be able to watch him without laughing or getting some kind of insight of what's going on inside the industry, man. Shout out to him. Well, you guys, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. Go ahead and join the iTrack fam, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.